not only has he been around, but he's given us some previous speeches about bears. So this continues that theme, I think, because the title is Bear Q&A. Please join me in welcoming Tom Rich.
Actually, I'd like to do more than 4 to 6. Can I just do a 5 to 7? Is that okay? Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members. I was talking to my mom on the phone the other day, and just kind of an average conversation with my mom. She's, "Oh, hi, honey, how are you doing? What'd you do today?" I said, "Oh, I took off and went for a run along the river. It was a beautiful day today, Mom." "Well, you're not going hiking, are you? The bears are coming out of hibernation." and you know, moms are always right. My mom doesn't say knock it off. She kind of gave up on that one. But she worries about everything. And in this case, you know, she's right once again. The bears are coming out of hibernation, and so are we. And we're going to be going up and sharing their country, the beautiful country that we have around us, until fall. So what I do every year, because I love getting out and backpacking and hiking and mountain biking and camping, I always get out my little Backcountry Bear Basics book. It's a pretty short little book. You can see I got it kind of tabbed off and highlighted with stuff. And it takes me an evening really to go through this book I've tabbed and highlighted. And then I feel pretty comfortable that I'm going to do the right things when I'm out in bear country, and I'm going to behave responsibly and make myself as safe as I possibly can. I mean, I don't think, in 20 years I've lived up here, I've never heard of a bear attack around Lake Tahoe area. And we have a lot of bears, so that says you're pretty darn safe when you're up there. But it pays to kind of watch what you're doing. Now this is my 5th speech on bear behavior and bears, and Michael said, "Hey, way to stick with the winning theme." You guys all probably heard 1 or 2 of my bear speeches. So I thought what I'd like to do today is kind of open it up and be a little more interactive and have you ask a few questions. Maybe there's something you want to know about, one of your hobbies, something that you like to do in the surrounding areas, and you have some concerns. So if you have any questions, I'll answer some questions for you. If not, I'll talk about camping, and I'll talk about mountain biking and hiking and trail running, and that should cover my icebreaker thing. Jay?
Yes. If a bear is chasing me, do I play dead or run even faster?
You don't run to start with. That's the first thing you never want to do with a bear is run away. You want to hold your ground. And that's a pretty complicated question because you really want to have an idea of why the bear is coming after you. There's several reasons that you could stir up a bear. One, you run into a mama bear and her cub, and so she's a little fired up and going to protect her cub. You could stumble across a bear that's maybe protecting the food source, and so they're going to be aggressive with you for a food source. And then you could also come across a predatory bear, one that actually thinks you're a food source. So it depends on the situation. Now, if you come across a bear and you surprise it and it's just defending itself, you can play dead, and it'll feel like it's conquered you, and it'll wander away and leave you alone. The key there, though, is you have to let the bear actually hit you first. If you lay down before the bear comes at you and feels like it's attacked you, then you're not going to be successful in that regard. The other thing you want to do is if you see a bear coming at you and you think it's maybe thinks you're food, then defend yourself. Stand your ground, look big, look tall, don't run. The bear can run 25 to 35 miles an hour. The world-class athlete, the fastest man in the world, runs 20 miles an hour. None of us look like we run that fast. So I think we're safe to figure we're not going to outrun. So stand your ground and face the bear down, and you're going to have your best luck. Any other questions? Jeffrey?
Do you recommend bringing a big hand cannon with you if everything else fails?
Well, it's not a bad idea, but you probably need to be an expert shooter like Patio. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I've had 4 bear encounters, and each time I've had a bear encounter, I was scared. I was really frightened. And some of them were kind of cool, but every time, man, my heart was pumped down in my chest. Now you got to picture yourself pulling out a gun, aiming and firing when you're under stress like that. So unless you're a pretty good shot and pretty confident with a gun, I wouldn't carry a gun with me to try and face down a bear. I would carry some bear mace. Use the bear mace. A bear mace works really well against grizzly bears, which we don't have in our area, and not quite so well against black bears. It'll discourage a black bear, it'll get them to back off and maybe go away for a little bit, but it's probably going to come back again. So use your bear spray and then get the heck out of there while the getting's good. Anything else, Maureen?
I've only ever seen a bear in the zoo. Even though I lived in Truckee in Tahoe-Dana for like 6 years at one point, where supposedly bears roam free, I've never actually had to see one in person. How can I continue to keep things that way?
Well, take Jeffrey's theme and just don't go into the woods. But I think it's really nice to get the opportunity to see bears. And you know, a couple of my bear encounters have been kind of frightening because they were way too close. But I've also had a couple where the bear was off at a distance and I could stand, you know, relatively comfortably. Like I said, my heart was still pumping pretty good. But I could stand back and watch the bears, and those were really wonderful opportunities. I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend the bear clip that was on TV where the people in Montana all thought it'd be nice to stop and take pictures of the little bear family. And I don't know how many people there were, maybe 50 people. They were on both ends of this bridge, and people just get overconfident, I think, when there's more. It's like a campground bear as opposed to a backcountry bear. You're a little bit overconfident because there's other people around, and these people were really close to the bears. And you could tell the mother bear was just getting really stressed out about the whole situation. So she started running after people and kind of chasing them off. I don't know if she was chasing them but she was not comfortable. And so you always want to keep your distance. Stay away from the bear as much as you can. They recommended 100 feet. I'd recommend 300 feet, the length of a football field. Kind of stay back and stay away from them. But it's a great experience. Anything else? Elizabeth?
I think of the movie The Edge. Of course, that was a grizzly with Anthony Hopkins and I can't remember the other guy's name.
I didn't see that one.
But, you know, a man was cut in their crashing on this area. So he was bleeding. Is it true that blood, whether it be from a cut, is going to definitely attract bear that are probably thinking more of food rather than anything else? And does that put women at risk on their monthly problems too?
You know, it's interesting because there is a chapter in that book about menstruation and being in the backcountry, and they've done some pretty intense studies on it, and they don't find any real connection to menstruation and attracting bears or blood and attracting bears. What they do find is that decaying blood. So if you have a tampon with you, dispose of it properly, treat it like trash, don't have it around your campground. Because anything that decays, then it starts to attract bears, but they don't find any real connection. And I heard something, maybe there was another study that came out, and I didn't find out what the results were. But according to that book, all the studies they did, they didn't find any connection. Anything else? I'm out of time. The light's red, and Jeffrey's looking like he wants to pull the trigger on that orange card.
No.
Well, thank you. That went really well. You guys had a lot of questions. I came prepared to talk about a few things. Thank you very much.